ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the 11th session of speaking about Varnashrama Dharma. Just give me 1 second. I have to send a reminder.
యాక్చువల్ గ్రూప్ లో మిస్ కాల్ ఇచ్చేయండి మాతేసి, అప్పుడు అర్థం అయిపోతుంది అందరికి.
Yeah, so we can start. So in our previous session, so today is March 22nd, 2025. And this is the 11th session of speaking about Varnashram Dharma. In the previous session, we were reading about, this is the Srimad Bhagavatam class given by Srila Prabhupada on November 25th, 1973. And the topic is getting all your necessities from the land. We have read, we have completed 2 sessions on this already. So this is the last session. So the highlights of this lecture were that in order to fulfill all desires, dharma has to be performed. The regulative principles, if one practices the regulative principles, dharma, then all his desires can be fulfilled. Because by performing dharma, you'll get artha, and then with that artha, you can fulfill your desires. Then Srila Prabhupada said, even devotees have desires. Their desire is not material desire, but their desire is to please Krishna, to progress in bhakti. For bhakti, even when they do dharma for the sake of bhakti only. It's bhakti matra kama. So dharma, artha, kama. Kama means desire, but that desire for devotees is bhakti only. And for that only they will do dharma. Their desire should be only to please Krishna. But this desire has to be, the point is, it has to be regulated. So if the desires are unregulated, that means there's no limit right? You try to fulfill your desires, and when the desires are not satisfied, then what happens? Kamesha krodesha, right? So from kama, krodha will come. Rajoguna samudva, they're coming from the mode of passion. So dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bijayate. And then like that they go down. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. So in this way one falls down into the material pool because of unfulfilled desires. Therefore, desires must be regulated. Regulative principles are very important. So in that context, this was in the previous sessions, we discussed it already. So in discussion, we just said, can we talk about some example for dharma? And Stri Dharma was brought up. So we discussed on that point. Then the next point that we discussed in this class, Bhagavatam class given by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada talks about the importance of keeping the cows happy. Because for you to fulfill all desires, you have to do dharma. Who is fulfilling all your desires? So you get whatever you need, your financial problem is solved and all your desires are fulfilled from land and from cows. But for you to get everything from cows, first of all, for you to be happy, you have to keep the cows happy. It is the duty of human society to keep cows happy. Because when they are happy, this was based on this verse. So this verse is Yudhishthir Maharaj in his rule, how the cows were so happy that even without milking, they were letting down their milk and the whole pasturing ground is becoming muddy. So Srila Prabhupada brings out the point that back then in Yudhishthir Maharaj's kingdom, because he was, establishing dharma in his kingdom. So because of that, everything, Prakriti is very happy and he's a pure devotee who's the leader. But the point here is by doing dharma, whatever you need, you get. Prakriti will supply everything. If you're abiding by dharma, Prakriti will supply whatever you need. And a live example is of Yudhishthir Maharaj's kingdom. So the cows were letting down milk even without milking the cows. The land was becoming, pasturing grounds were becoming muddy. And Srila Prabhupada says that nowadays the land is not muddy even with rainwater. What to speak of the land becoming muddy with cow's milk? Even with rainwater, there's no rain. How rains will come? Rains will come because of Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yagyad bhavati parjanyo. Parjanya means rain. Rain comes because of yagya. And yagya comes from dharma, from your prescribed duties. So if you're not doing dharma, there will be no rain. If there is no rain, then if there is no rain, if there is no rain, there's no food also. So that is why nowadays there's what to speak of so much milk and so much grains that, you see even in Krishna's pastime, Nandotsav, they had such abundance of milk and butter and yogurt, they would throw on each other, milk and butter. Like there was literally, the land was becoming muddy with Panchamrita, throwing on each other. Holy they were playing Nandotsav. So that is actually opulence. So that will come actually in the next session also. What is real opulence? So we were discussing that in the previous session. Now let us go forward from there. What happens after that? So in that we discussed, 1 second. Yeah. So we discussed about the importance of protecting cows, how it is everyone's responsibility it is the responsibility of all human beings to protect cows. And then how Krishna is personally teaching. Krishna is setting example how to protect cows by protecting them himself. Even as a small child, along with all his cowherd boyfriends, he would take the cows to the pasturing grounds, and the cows are happy and the boys are happy. They are having their games, play and eating, and then the cows are, happily grazing in the pasturing fields. This is the ideal situation. There should be sufficient land for the cows to graze, and the cows must be kept so happy. If the cows are happy, automatically human society will be happy. So, but if the cow knows that you're going to kill it, even though you're feeding it and making it plump, but if the cow knows that this person is going to kill me, she won't be happy. She won't be happy. Or, if her calf is going to be taken away. And then the next section is how land is producing all the needs that all our necessities, all the necessities of life are produced from land. So just grow food, use the land to produce food for yourself and for the cows. You take the grains and give the grass to the cows. The cows don't demand so much. They're happy with whatever you are not taking. And in return, they will give you the most nutritious milk. Then all economic problem is solved. There is no need to go to cities to work in factories and in companies, driving in motor cars. And there's no need of drilling petrol from the ground like that. So the Vedic system is you stay wherever you're living, you can get your livelihood there itself. You don't have to drive so long in order to get your livelihood or for your maintenance. You can grow your food wherever you're living. And then if you're living by dharma, rainfall, there will be rainfall. Land will produce food. And all economic problem is solved. So this is the cooperation between the higher authorities. And so God will help if you're living by his lifestyle. The lifestyle which he has prescribed, if you're living by that, then the Lord will help you. So now let's continue from there, wherever we stopped. Okay. We are trying to give as much possible happiness to our students. You want to read? You can take turns reading. Mataji, you want to read? Chinmay Keshri Mataji. Page 54.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We are trying to give as much as possible happiness to our students. Otherwise, unless one feels happy, how it is a little difficult. Unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot adjust things. Therefore, our policy is that what is called yogo bhavati siddhi. Yuktahara viharasya yogo bhavati siddhi. We are yogis, but we are not that kind of yogi. Unnecessarily giving troubles to the body. No yuktahara. You eat, you require to eat. You eat, don't starve. Don't unnecessarily fast, but don't eat voraciously. That is bad. That is not yukta. You eat, but don't eat voraciously. Because there is something very palatable. Let me eat voraciously and then again fall sick. And if you cannot digest, then you will sleep. You will sleep only. Therefore, don't eat more, but eat wherever is necessary. Yuktahara. युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. 6.17. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Eat whatever necessity, whatever you can. One man's food, another man's poison. One man eats, say, so much voraciously, another man cannot digest. If he imitates, oh, he is eating so much, I will also eat so much. No, he can digest it. let him eat. But if you cannot digest, don't eat more. This is required. Then what is that verse? Pradyumna. Annad bhavanti bhutani pradyumnat anna sambhava parjanyat anna sambhava yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samadbhava. Which is 3.14. All living bodies subsist on food grains which are the produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. Prabhupada, that everything is cycle. If you execute your prescribed duties as a Brahmana, as a Kshatriya, as a Vaisya, or as a Sudra, as a Brahmachari, as a Gruhastha, as a Vanaprastha, or as Sannyasi, divisions are there. Divisions must be there, just like government. For executing nicely the governmental business, there are so many departments, not that one department, only king, king and queen. Then government, why the government is spending so much money, maintaining so many buildings, simply queen's palace, but Buckingham, what is Adent Matasi?
It's the place where the Queen of England lives, or that Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham. Okay, that is sufficient. No, there must be departments. So there are departments. Thus Brahmana, the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, the Sudra. Just like in your body, there are departments. This department, brain, head. Therefore, it is called head. Head office. Head office. Why do you refer to the? Why do you refer to the head office? It has come from this
Head.
head. Why Godhead? The supreme Godhead, the supreme. Therefore, we say Godhead. That is described in the Bhagavad Gita, BG 7.7. Mattha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhanunjaya. There is no more superior person than me. So the divisions required. The divisions required. So far, these divisions, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, without the divisions, so what is read the verse again? Pradyumna. Annad bhavanti, Prabhupada. Annad bhavanti, ha. Pradyumna. Bhutani, Prabhupada, ha. Bhavanti bhutani, annad. Anna means food grains, either animal or man. They must eat sufficiently. Either you eat grass or you eat rice or wheat or oats or something must be. So they are called anna. In Sanskrit language, it is called anna. Anna means food grains. So annad bhavanti bhutani. Every living entity lives. Nowadays, they
You continue. Let's just cover this much first, and then I'll continue from there. So, I'll just read the previous paragraph before you started. That is Vedic civilization. Everyone should remain in the spot and produce everything as he requires. That we discussed. Just you produce wherever you're living, because you can produce from that land anywhere. The rainfall is there. If you have got land and the rainfall is regular, then you can produce anything. Kamam vavarsha parjanyaha means what? Parjanya means rain. With rain, all your desires are also rained. That means they are fulfilled. Whatever you want, everything will come when there is rain. How the rain will be possible? How you will get regular rainfall? That is described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yagyad bhavati parjanyo. Yagya karma samudbhavaha. So then, now Srila Prabhupada is asking. So it's there in Bhagavad Gita. Look for that verse. So the context is, you can stay wherever you are and you can produce in that place itself. For that, all you need is rain. So now you have to figure out how you can get rain. If you get rain, land will produce food. So first we need rain. How we can get rain? So for that, how to get rain, you look for the verse in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada is saying, 3:14. So meanwhile, we are trying to give as much possible happiness to our students. Otherwise, unless he's happy, it will become difficult, right? Unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, one cannot adjust. That means, what is the topic here? That all your desires are fulfilled. When there is rain, all your desires will be fulfilled. That means we will have desires because we are not very advanced in Krishna consciousness. You want to eat nicely, you want, a secure place to live, like that. Some facilities people want, they're happy. So Srila Prabhupada is saying we are trying. We are trying to give as much possible happiness to our students. Students means those who have come to Krishna consciousness, those who have taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is saying we are trying to give them as much as possible, trying to give them happiness. Because if they're not happy, then they won't be able to continue. We have to keep them happy. And unless one is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, he won't be able to adjust. Without those small things, he won't be able to adjust. That means he'll become unhappy. And if he's unhappy, then he won't be able to continue in Krishna consciousness. So we have to keep them happy. But if you are advanced in Krishna consciousness, even if you didn't have anything, you will not mind. That's the point. So what is our policy? Yoga bhavati. So yuktahara. We will give you. It's not like, no, you should not eat, you should not sleep. So that's why this topic started. So while that devotee is looking up for the verse, Annad Bhavanti Bhutani, meanwhile Prabhupada is talking and Srila Prabhupada is saying that, yes, we want to keep our students happy and we are trying, but don't make that the goal of life. Like all the time trying to figure out how I'll become more comfortable, how I will get, that's my next goal. Now I have this much, next I'm working to get more and more and more. Then what's the difference between a karmi and a yogi, right? Yogi means he will take, but it is regulated. The whole point is dharma and your activities must be regulated. So even your desires can also be regulated. You want to eat, but yuktahara, in a regulated way you eat. That's the point. And it doesn't mean now because, now I should starve myself. Artificially, there is no need to starve. But what is to be watched there is, don't eat voraciously. And one more point Srila Prabhupada said. What else did Srila Prabhupada say about eating? You have to be careful about, unmute చేసి చెప్పండి.
తిని ఎక్కువ పడుకోవద్దని చెప్తున్నా.
If you eat too much, then you will sleep. That is there. But one more point is, you should know your body. Like Bhimsen is able to eat. He eats, that Bakasura in Eka Chakra. So every week, they were supposed to send one big ox cart, bullock cart load of all types of food items, cooked food items, so many things. And the driver himself is also food for that Rakshasa. So he has to go there. Bhimsen alone, so this Rakshasa was a monster, a big, gigantic Rakshasa. He was going to eat this man and he was going to eat all that food. But Bhimsen ate up everything himself. But that doesn't mean after eating, he'll just sleep. Oh, I ate so much. No, Bhimsen's body could digest that, and equally, he had so much strength, he could work also proportionately. By eating, if you're able to transform that food into energy and into work, and you're able to offer that type of work, there is no objection to eating. You can eat, no problem. Bhimsen went and he killed that Bakasura after eating all that. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, don't compete with others that, oh, this person is able to eat more, so now I should also eat more. You don't have the capacity. That person has the capacity. He'll eat so much, but he can digest it and he can still function. So that's also another indicator about. So this you can extend this to other fields of sense gratification also, right? So someone else thinks, oh, this person has, they have so many needs, so many factors are there. So what is one person's, what do you say, necessity is another person's luxury. So just because it is that person's need, I should not copy that person and say that I should also have now all those facilities. Only then I will be considered as a, successful person in life. Competition, right? So that should not be there. You take what you need. And the standard is already set in Bhagavatam. What is the standard? Labho jiveta yavata, right? So you take as much of their sense gratification. Kamasya nendriya priti, labho jiveta yavata. So there, kama means accepting sense objects, whether food or any other things, the needs, right? Whatever you're supplying to your needs, it should not be done for indriya priti. You should not do it for sense gratification. Then why we should give? So if I give food to my mouth, like Srila Prabhupada gives this example, oh, it is tasty, so let me eat more and more. So that should not be there if you want to actually progress in bhakti. That should not be there. You take what your body needs. Don't take for the sake of sense gratification. Kamasya na indriya pritir. Then why you have to accept labho jiveta yavata, so that you can live. You need food to annad bhavanti bhutani. This body needs anna. When body gets anna, then the body is maintained. It becomes strong and it can offer some work. So then the next question is, why you want to maintain this body? Right? Labho jiveta yavata. Why do you have to live? Jivasya tattva jigyasa. Life is meant for tattva jigyasa. So you have to live so that you can inquire about tattvam, param tattvam, and then you can endeavor for that. For that sake, you have to live. And in order to live, you have to eat. So eat as much as is needed so that you will live. And that life is meant for tattva jigyasa. This is Srimad Bhagavatam statement for us. So with this, if you are taking, so our different bodies are different because each person has a different karma. Based on that, some people need to eat more in order to live. Other people don't need so much. Same sleeping also. Some people need more sleep. Now you don't have to compete. Oh, my roommate is sleeping for 10 hours, so I should also sleep like that. This is a competition. The more a person sleeps, the more, advanced. That's not the standard. That should not be set. So that's another point that Srila Prabhupada brought up here. So one man eats, say, so much voraciously, another man cannot digest. If he imitates, oh, he is eating so much, I will also eat so much. No. He can digest it, let him eat. But if you cannot digest, don't eat more. You will fall sick or you will sleep. So meanwhile, while Srila Prabhupada is discussing this, that devotee Pradyumna Prabhu found the verse. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. So all living bodies subsist on food grains. Food grains are produced by rains. Rains are produced by performance of yagya. And yagya is born of prescribed duties or dharma. So now the next topic is dharma. What is dharma now? That will be discussed. Because now by doing dharma, you are able to live. You are able to produce grains. And by eating grains, you are able to survive. All your desires are being fulfilled. So now what is this dharma that is being discussed here? So Srila Prabhupada is saying, that's it. Everything is cycle. If you execute your prescribed duties, now what are prescribed duties? Duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, Stri Dharma. This is prescribed duty. Varnashrama Dharma, that is prescribed duty. So this is a cycle. If you follow your dharma, by following dharma, there will be rain. When there is rain, there will be food. And when there is food, all your desires, kama, will be fulfilled. So in a society, this division is essential. For you to fulfill all your desires, you have to do dharma, and dharma means these 8 divisions. They have to be there. That is the point. Divisions are there. Division must be there. It's not that one body, society, you will have only Kshatriyas. Is it possible that only one king will be there? That's what Srila Prabhupada said. You can have only one building, Buckingham Palace, because this class is being given in London. That is why Srila Prabhupada is saying Buckingham Palace. So why you have so many administration buildings here? You can have only one palace for the queen? No, but there are many, many departments. To run the kingdom, you have various departments. So similarly, this body also has, society also has, should have various departments, just like the body has head department, brain department, hands, arms, legs, like that. So therefore, it is called head office. Why do you refer to the head office? It has come from this head, Godhead, the supreme Godhead. So we say Godhead. That is described in Bhagavad Gita. Mattah partaram nanyat. There is no one superior to me. So the divisions are required. So that's where we came. Continuing from here. Anyone would like to read? Would anyone like to read?
Sure, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead. From Pradyumna, Annad Bhavanti. You want me to make it bigger, Mataji?
From where, Mataji?
Pradyumna, Annad Bhavanti.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhupada. Pradyumna, Annad Bhavanti. Prabhupada, Annad Bhavanti, Pradyumna. Bhutani, Prabhupada. Ha, Bhavanti, Bhutani. Anna. Anna means food grains. Either animal or man, they must eat sufficiently. Either eat grass or eat rice or wheat or oats or something must be. So they are called Anna. In Sanskrit language, it is called Anna. Anna means food grains. So Anna Bhavanti Bhutani. Every living entity lives. Nowadays, there is scarcity of food grains. Even the human being cannot eat sufficiently. But formerly, the kings, they used to maintain elephants. They were supplied very nice chapatis. Do you know that? Still, there are kings. They have elephants. Therefore, elephant can be maintained by very rich man. If somebody comes, he says, take this elephant, I give you free. Will you take? Will you accept? You know that elephant will devour you. Your means or income and all family income, because you cannot maintain elephant last. Therefore, in India, sometimes when 100 years ago, some students would come in England, especially London, and make a European English wife. In old days, they are doing that. So people would say that this man is maintaining one white elephant. Because a European wife means very much expenditure. So one Mr. C.R. Das, he was High Court judge. So he was taking bribe on account of maintaining white elephant. He married one European wife. The expenditure were very high. In those days for Indian, it was a fashion to get a European wife. So this man married one European wife and his expenditures was very, very heavy. So High Court judge, he was getting only 4,000 rupees and his expenditure was 10,000 rupees and therefore he was taking bribe. He admitted. So when he was detected by the Chief Justice, he was dismissed from the post. But this is the position. You should not expend more than your income.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So the context here is Annad Bhavanti Bhutani. Again, we have to remember the flow. This is the verse of Yudhishthir Maharaj, verse from Srimad Bhagavatam about Yudhishthir Maharaj's kingdom, about his rule, when the earth used to become muddy with the milk of cows. The cows were so happy. So everything else, the trees were supplying fruits and flowers throughout the season. The rivers were full of waters flowing. The mines, had all types of minerals. Everything was full in abundance. Why? Because Yudhishthir Maharaj was Dharmaraj. So if you follow Dharma, all your needs, all your desires will be fulfilled. That is the context here. If you follow Dharma, all your needs will be fulfilled. So in that context, we are speaking, Srila Prabhupada is explaining, what do you need to survive? everyone needs food. Whether you're an animal or you're a human being, everyone needs food, because with food, this body is maintained. Annad bhavanti bhutani. All living entities, they are maintained, their existence is dependent on anna. So, annad bhavanti bhutani. Then anna means food grains. Food, you may think anna means only rice. It can be rice, it can be wheat, oats, any food grains is anna. Then Srila Prabhupada is saying, but nowadays there is a scarcity of food grains. Why is there a scarcity of food grains? Because if you perform dharma, Yudhishthir Maharaj's rule, there is abundance of food grains. Now when there is no dharma, naturally, proportionately, food grains are becoming scarce. There is no rain and there is no food. Food grains are becoming scarce because of not following dharma. So now Srila Prabhupada is showing that, highlighting that point. There is scarcity of food grains. What to speak of feeding animals? Even human beings are not getting proper food. But back in the day when they were following dharma, human beings are fed sumptuously. Kings used to feed chapatis to elephants. Can you believe that? Srila Prabhupada says elephants eat like 40 quintals of grain at a time. In Mayapur, we used to have, now, last year they had some incident and they sent them away, but 2 elephants were being maintained by Mayapur temple, Radha Madhav's temple. And they have their own fields, like they grow sugarcane, etc., fields just for elephants. So maintaining an elephant is a big, it needs a lot of arrangement. And they had such opulence, what to speak of growing food and giving them sugarcane. They were rolling chapatis and feeding elephants chapatis. And today's situation is even human beings cannot get sufficient food. So how they had this type of opulence? Because of following dharma. So Srila Prabhupada is saying they were supplied with very nice chapatis. Do you know that? Still there are kings, they have elephants. Therefore, this was when, in the 70s. Now, I don't know if there are kings who have elephants. Therefore, elephant can be maintained by a very rich man. So then in that context, Srila Prabhupada is saying, so again, in the earlier part of the century or previous century, men from India would go to the West, especially to England, for higher studies, and they would come back with an English wife, because it was a matter of prestige to have a white wife. But in India, in the Indian community, when the man would come with a white wife, they would say, oh, he has an elephant now. Why? Because maintaining an elephant means lot of expenditure. You have to feed and you have to maintain. So if you had an English wife, there will be a lot of expenditure. Like she will spend so many needs at, they will have so many needs. So that's why they would say he's having an English, he's maintaining an elephant. And Srila Prabhupada is giving the example of one popular, famous person, C.R. Das. He was a magistrate, a high court judge, but he had an English wife, European wife, and he was not able to fulfill all the needs with his salary. So he started taking bribes, and then he was removed from his post. So all this is being explained to tell us that we need food for our sustenance. And food comes from rain. Rain comes by doing dharma. Back then, when everyone was following dharma, they had such abundance, they would feed even chapatis to elephants. But now, even human beings are not able to get food. So now we'll continue reading. Mataji, you want to read? Manjari Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. So, Kamam, yes. What is this? Annad, bhavanti bhutani. Bhutani means embodied. Those who have accepted the living entities. They live by eating anna, either animal or human being. You require anna, produce food grains. Food grains or grass or anything, as the animals eat and men eat, you must produce. And that production is there on the ground, not your factory, not in the Buckingham factories. There are many factories in Birmingham. You cannot produce food grains there. Therefore, it is said, Annad Bhavanti Bhutani. Then next, Pradyuman. Pran, Praj,
Parjanya.
Prajanayad Anna Sambhava. Prabhupada. And Prajanayad Anna Sambhava. Prajanya means if there is water, waterfall, rainfall, then you can produce Anna. Prajanyad Anna Sambhava. One after another, you require food grains. And for producing food grains, you require sufficient rainfall. Prajanyad Anna Sambhava. Then, Pradyuman.
Yagya.
Ajnad Bhavanti Praj. Yes, Mataji?
Yeah.
Should I
Yagyat
continue?
bhavati. Yagyat bhavati parjanya.
Yagyad Bhavati Prajanya. Prabhupada. Yagyad Bhavati Prajanya. And the rain supply be regular if you perform sacrifice. Therefore, what is that next? Pradyuman. Yagya Bhavanti Prajanya. Yagya Karma Samudbhava. Prabhupada. Yagya Karma Samudbhava. Yagya Karma. Karma means according to the Varna ashram, Brahman should work according to his own position. They will chant Vedic mantra. This is also one karma activity. They must understand what is Vedas. They must explain. This is Brahman's business. And Kshatriya's business, karma, this is called Shatram Karma Swabhavajan. Brahman Karma Swabhavajan. Vaishya Karma Swabhavajan. Shudra Karma Swabhavajan. By nature, one has got a particular type of work. So, Yagya Karma Swabhava. What is that? Samudbhava. Pradyuman. Yagya Karma Samudbhava. Prabhupada. Karma Samudbhava. If everyone is doing his duty nicely as a Brahman, as a Kshatriya, as a Vaishya, or as a Shudra, then no, there is no question of that you are do. Everyone has to do his work according to his capacity. Just like in ordinary life also, we do not see that everyone is able to do everything. No, there are certain class of men. If you want some help for repairing your electric wiring, you must call for an electrician, not a carpenter. But when you want to repair a door, you require a carpenter. This is Vedic division. Therefore, there was caste system. Everyone. I have seen in India still. In your country also you will find the potters during Diwali system, they make small dolls. So I have seen the potter's house. The children, 5 or 10-year-old, they are also making small dolls. Because of tradition by family, the father is making doll, the mother is making doll, and the children also learning. Similarly, the weaver you will find. You supply till there are this system you supply. Gandhi wanted to introduce this system. You produce your thread and give it to the weaver, and weaver will give you cloth. Why you are looking for the Manchester cloth? By this movement. Tape ends.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mathu. So let's just finish the last section here. So all our desires are fulfilled by Anna. Annad bhavanti bhutani. And Anna is coming, we need. The point is everyone needs Anna. Whether you're animal or human being, anyone. Everyone needs Anna. Where is Anna coming from? Is it coming from factories? Is it coming from our software companies? No. Anna is coming from the land. Food grains are produced by the land. So that is important. And then what else do you need? You need rainfall. And in order to get rainfall, you have to do karma. Yagya karma samudbhavaha. This is important. What is yagya? You may think yagya means doing fire sacrifice. Yes, that is yagya. And that is also karma. But even your prescribed duties, right? Brahmana's duty, Kshatriya's duty, Vaishya's duty, Brahmachari's duty, these duties are prescribed in the Shastra. So now the next question is, if these duties are prescribed in Shastra, how do you know what is my duty? This is one question always people ask. Mataji, in today's society, how do I know what is my duty, what is my varna? Isn't it? So right now it's a twisted system. Everything has been twisted. So we have to bring it back in place. We have to move in that direction. But your particular varna is already there in your swabhava. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. Brahma karma swabhavajam, Kshatra karma swabhavajam, Vaishya karma swabhavajam, Shudra karma swabhavajam. That swabhava of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is there in you already. Each person has a particular swabhava. What is swabhava? Can anyone tell me what is swabhava?
Character, Mataji.
Character, okay.
Nature, Mataji, our nature, the inclination to do something.
Yes, our nature, the inclination to do something. So is this swabhava of the spirit soul? Does each spirit soul have a particular swabhava? Is it
But
that
previous
Yes,
samskars
yes.
maybe.
Yes, Mataji. Everyone's nature is different, Mataji.
Manjari Vidyavati Mataji is saying from previous samskaras you get a nature. Achyut Priya Mataji, you are saying everyone has a different nature.
Sorry
Yeah.
for interrupting, Mataji. No, I was saying that everyone's nature is different based on the karmas, previous karma.
Based on previous karma, everyone's nature is different. So is this nature belonging to the spirit soul ultimately?
No,
Is the spirit soul a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya,
No.
Shudra?
no.
No, Mataji.
No, it is not. So this nature, this swabhava is, as rightly said, it is coming from your past samskaras or past karma, as Mataji said. So that karma is installed on your chitta. Your subtle body consists of chitta, man, buddhi, ahankar. So when you get this body, when Brahmaji gives your subtle body and gross body, so the living entity in the conditioned state has karma covering it, avidya and karma. So karma, when it is installed on the chitta, immediately it forms all samskaras or impressions. Based on that, the rest of the subtle body, your intelligence, your mind, your everything following those samskaras, they are formed. Now each person has different samskaras based on your, and these samskaras are what? It's nothing but the influence. Someone is primarily influenced by the mode of goodness. Someone else is primarily influenced by the mode of passion. What are all these things made of? The 23 elements are made of what? 23 elements are nothing but made of the three modes only: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Because in the beginning, Prakriti has three modes. If you look at creation, when Karanodakashaya Vishnu glances on Prakriti, the three modes are in equilibrium. After the Lord glances on Prakriti and he impregnates her with all the living entities, now she is producing one after another. First, Mahatattva is produced. Mahatattva is made of what? What is the composition? Goodness. Then false ego is formed. False ego's composition is ignorance, tamoguna. Then this tamoguna is again has combination tamoguna and goodness, like there is sattva tama, then you have rajasa tama and tamoguna, like this you'll have. So that false ego, which is in goodness, is producing mind and the controlling deities. False ego, which is in rajoguna, is producing senses and intelligence. False ego, which is in tamoguna, that means false ego is made of tamoguna combination. It is producing your gross elements, the sense objects. That means our mind, our intelligence, our ahankara, what are all these things made of? What is the composition? These three modes only, no? Goodness, passion, ignorance. That's what everything is made of. It's made of these modes. Now, when after all these elements are formed, the universes are formed, within the universe, Virata Purusha is formed, and then Brahmaji comes, and all these living entities are there. Now, Brahmaji's task is to give bodies to all these living entities. Based on each living entity's karma, now he's assigning, he's giving. Or this person will get this chitta, this mana, this buddhi, this ahankara. He's giving. So these things are also made of same three modes. Someone is mostly influenced by goodness. Someone's intelligence is mostly in goodness. Someone else's intelligence is in passion. Someone else's intelligence is in ignorance. Different combinations. That's where the difference is coming. And this is forming his particular swabhava. Your swabhava is your subtle body, which has chittam, which has all the impressions of past life. Samskaras are there. And based on that, now you have a certain level of intelligence. You have a particular type of mind with the desires, likes and dislikes, they're stored in the mind. And intelligence is the one which decides this is what it is, this is what it is not. Intelligence is deciding. So how sharp is your intelligence? It depends on whether it is in the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance. So that is why everyone has a different combination of these modes. Their subtle body is made of different combination of these modes. So each person has a particular swabhava. Now, when you talk of these divisions, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are also based on modes only. Someone who is in goodness, he is called a Brahmana. Someone who is in passion, he is called a Kshatriya. Someone who is in passion and ignorance, he is called a Vaishya. Someone who is in ignorance is called a Shudra. Why? Now, the task of the teacher, Gurukula teacher, is to identify, first of all, what is this person's swabhava. Just like when you go to a doctor, before he treats you, he has to diagnose, right? What are the symptoms? Study the symptoms. And after he studies the symptoms, then he will ascertain this is the disease. After ascertaining the disease, then he will prescribe this is the medicine for you. So similarly, the teacher also, when the students come, he will first of all watch the symptoms by giving some tests. He will study the symptoms. And because he's like a doctor, he already knows which symptom means what. So by seeing the symptoms, he will ascertain, oh, this boy is a Brahmana, this boy is a Kshatriya, this boy is a Vaishya. And after based on what? That swabhava is already there in each person. But this swabhava does not belong to the spirit soul. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Swabhava is it is the subtle body. It is the subtle body. Spirit soul is pure. Spirit soul is not influenced by these modes. Your body, subtle body is influenced by these modes. So, but now we are in this body. And when you have ahankara, you are thinking you are this body. We are identifying with this body. Isn't it? So we have to come out of this bodily identification. So there is a path how to come out of this bodily identification. Simply by saying verbally, oh, I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, I'm not out of it already. I have to actually exercise, work to come out of it. So that path that we take is this Varnashram Dharma. And it's a very scientific system. Your particular Varna, that means how you're influenced by these modes, is identified. After identifying, then the treatment is given. That means these are the duties. And what is the foundation? What is the, the source for all this? Shastra. Nobody is imagining, or, not that 10 people come and sit together and they have a planning commission and they plan, oh, this is how we'll start this department. And no, it's already there. It's there in Shastra. So based on that, if he is a Brahmana, what type of duty should he do? What should be his lifestyle? How should he earn his livelihood? What type of activities he should do? It's there. For a Kshatriya also it's there. Vaishya, Shudra also it is there. So this is why the Gurukul system is important, where the teacher will identify and then ascertain what his Varna is, and he will give him the skills also. He'll train him. And after training, then he'll leave him in society. Now for the rest of his life, he has to follow his particular dharma. What will happen when you follow your dharma according to your swabhava? Because it is natural for you, it's your nature. The work that you're doing, it's natural for you because it is your swabhava. You will be able to tolerate the difficulties that come in the course of doing your particular duty. Because that work is natural for you. Even if there is loss, even if there is defeat, even if there is, adversities, you will still continue because that is your swabhava. But if it is not your swabhava, what will happen? With a slight, reversal, you'll become overwhelmed and you won't be able to continue that work. That is why the very first step is to identify the swabhava. Without identifying now, that's why this system doesn't work, current system. There's no identification of what is the aptitude, what is the tendency, inclination of the student, that is not recognized. Everyone is going after the result. Oh, if you take to this profession, you'll get more money, then you'll live comfortably. That's the goal. But that will keep you in bodily concept only. It will not bring you out of this bodily identification. Because you are looking at the result. Based on the result, you are choosing your particular profession. For your children also. Now they are going in that, and then if you see, oh, यहाँ पे पैसा कम है, कहीं और जाऊंगा तो ज़्यादा पैसा आएगा. That means that is keeping you in the bodily concept only. Whatever is comfortable for this body, I will keep adjusting my dharma according to that. You will never come out of this bodily consciousness. But what is the scientific system in Varnashram society? Once your Varna is ascertained by the teacher, now for the rest of your life, you will stick to that Varna. Now the next question will come, but we are all devotees. We want to become Krishna conscious. You are saying we will remain as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra all our life? Yes, externally that's what you will do. But internally what is happening, while you're doing your duty, while tolerating pains and pleasures, when you continue to do your duty, what happens is, you will, because see, when pains are coming, reverses are coming, and you're tolerating it, what happens is you will realize that this is not happening to me. You're able to tolerate it in spite of the onslaughts. You're able to move forward with your determination in your particular duty. That will give you the realization, I'm separate from this body. I'm not this body. That's the advantage. This is called work in the mode of goodness. Tolerating reversals and also not being attached to the results. Working for the results is completely against working in the mode of goodness. No attachment for the result. You do it for the sake of dharma. That's why. Why you're doing the duty of a Brahmana? Why you're rising early in the morning? Why you're chanting 3 times Gayatri a day? Why you're teaching? Why you're worshipping? Because this is my dharma. Not because this will give me good result. Because of this, I will get some money. No, that's not why you do your dharma. You see, in villages also, you will see, even now, some remnants, you will see poor people. They have some small shop, hardly anything to sell there, some few things. But every day religiously, they will come and they will sit in that shop. Who is coming there, we don't see. Whether anyone is coming, but they will do it because this is their dharma. And that dharma protects you. Dharma rakshati rakshitaha. If you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. So this is ingrained in a Vedic society. People who are trained in Vedic society, it is ingrained in them that I have to abide by my dharma. By doing my dharma, God will protect me. That is there. That is why They tolerate all types. Women have their dharma, right? They remain chaste no matter what. Why they do that? Now modern women think, those who have this feminist type of ideas, they think that, why they're tolerating, why they're less than their husbands. But that is their dharma. So that's why we see our grandmothers and mothers, why they tolerate, because by adhering to my dharma, I am making spiritual progress, which is the real progress. We are trying to make things work here, but what do you say? You win a small battle, but you lose the war. You are risking your spiritual progress in order to win a small argument here. I have won and I'm victorious, but I have lost the big war. I have risked my spiritual life. But you see from Shastra, from examples of Devahuti and Sukanya and one more that we read. Who was the other one we read recently? Slipping my mind now. But, they tolerate and they stay. But in the end, they are victorious. They're actually intelligent. Some arguments I may lose here, but in the end, I'm going to win. That is why when you adhere to dharma, what it does is it lifts you above bodily consciousness. Then you're not this body anymore. You're not identifying yourself as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But still you'll continue. You'll continue to do it's not that now you can change your dharma. Then Krishna would have allowed Arjun, okay, Arjun, now you can stop fighting and go begging, become a Brahmana. Krishna would have said that, right? No. He said, no, Kshatriya, you have to do your duty. Even if you are already self-realized, you better do this, because you'll be setting example to others who are not yet self-realized. They will see, oh, yadyad acharati sreshtas. This great person, he's doing his dharma, I will also follow my dharma. So by following dharma, this person is making progress. And internally, this person who self-realized within the heart, he doesn't identify himself as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. He will think, I'm a devotee of Krishna. Internally, he's only doing 24 hours direct devotional service. Externally, he will do his duties. Yes, Mataji. Manjari Mataji.
Mataji, you mentioned that in the previous times, boys used to go to Gurukul.
Yes.
And there the Guru used to identify in which Varn, what are his interests, so that he can be classified as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra.
Yes.
So girls never used to go to Gurukul, I believe. So does this Varna ashram is applicable to females also?
Females or women are also part of Varnashrama, but their duties are different. So it's not that they don't get education, but there is nothing like co-education, where you send boys and girls to the same Gurukula and they stay, because Gurukula traditionally meant they actually go and live with Guru in the forest. They go and live there. For years, they live there under Guru when the training is completed. And if they want to remain brahmachari, two types of brahmacharis are there. Upakurvana brahmachari and Naishtika brahmachari. Naishtika brahmachari means he wants to remain under Guru all his life. And Upakurvana means after graduation, then he wants to go home and get married. So that option he has. This is for the boys. Girls cannot do that. They cannot go and live with Guru in the ashram, and no, doesn't work. Now that doesn't mean they don't get education. So the system is wherever they live, and also if we see they would live, all the Brahmanas have a separate community. Brahmanas live in their community, Kshatriyas live in their community, Vaishyas in their community. This is natural and scientific also, right? Same type of occupational duties, they live separately in communities. So within each community, or even in one street, one elderly lady, she will be the teacher. So all the girls in that street go to that Mataji in her house, and she will teach them. And also their training will be naturally, because if you're the wife of a Brahmana, you should be, you should have idea of Brahmana's duties. So she will be trained in that, how to assist in a family, what are the values, and even basic knowledge. Kshatriya women also, in case of emergency, they were prepared to defend. We see in the case of Shivaji Maharaj's mother, many cases are there. But it's not that when there is a war, they're there with all weapons and going first. No, they're trained. So the point is, it's not that they're completely dull and they're not trained, but the position of the women is to assist the husband. So the main training that is given to women is to remain chaste, chastity and faithfulness, and to perform worshipping activities at home. So women's duties are inside. Man's duties are outside. Women's duties are inside, man's duties are outside. So what duties she has to do at home? She has to be trained. Knowledge is required for every activity. So certainly she needs training. But her training is not like going to Gurukul and studying under Guru. Her training is within the community. Women, mothers, senior ladies, they will be training. The girls, they know Shastra also. If you're a Brahmana, we have so many examples. They know Shastra also. But it's not like they're not the ones who are going front, like in debates and, like that. They are equipped. If need be, they are prepared. But they send the men forward and they're staying behind to assist, like the king and the prime minister type, right? They're there and they're giving advice. They're supporting. Because if they're not there, how the man will function? So it is a partnership. They work together, but partnership where the roles are clear. Her role is inside and man's role is outside. And for that, she needs training and she's trained. Did that help?
Yes, Mataji. So what I understood is, like in case a girl is born in a Brahmin family, so she will be trained with all that Brahmical qualities, Vedas. In case she is born in a Vaishya family, then accordingly, her mother, grandparents, whosoever they are, they will train her in that field.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And
Understood.
her nature, as you asked, that's a good question also. So does she also do you have to identify whether she's a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? Mainly for women, see, the body that we get is also based on the karma. So women's body, that's why if you see in Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, in the conversation between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni, that Narad Muni is listing the duties of the different varnas and different ashrams. You will see he will give the women's duties separately. He will give duties of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. But women are taken as a separate class. That means women can be, whether you are in a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, you have your own specific duties. Those duties have to be taught to women. So mainly what women are to be taught, their education is in remaining chaste and faithful. That's there. And then once you are chaste and faithful, you will learn. So if you're married, normally that's how it would happen. If you're married, if you're born in a Brahmana family, you will be married to other Brahmanas. But even if you are married to some other caste person, which happens sometimes, that also happens, because your training is to remain faithful, you will immediately adjust yourself wherever you're married. You will take on the varna of your husband. But if you are rigidly trained to be a Brahmana from beginning, you will not be able to adjust to some other, because you don't know, right? When you get married. So that's why their main training is to remain chaste and faithful. That means wherever they're married, they will immediately blend into that. They will, because they'll be faithful to the husband. Then if the husband is a Brahmana, they will learn to be faithful. And so husband's role is like a guru. Woman's role is like a disciple. So the guru will teach. So she will learn and she'll go like that. So when she's with her parents, her training is to remain chaste and faithful. And household duties will be common in any varna. You have to cook, right? And some worshipping activities in any, regardless of whichever varna, everyone will be worshipping, right? So taking care of children, raising children, taking care of elders in the family, keeping the house nice, clean, organized. So these things, this is common. So these things she will be trained in. And also basic Shastric knowledge about the Supreme Lord, worshipping the Lord. These things will be there, all women. But mainly you have to train her about being chaste and faithful. When that is there, wherever she may be married, then there won't be any problems in that marriage. from her side, at least, right? She will take care of it. So that's the thing. And actually, further also, it is said, if she knows this art, then even if the man is like Ravana, right, she will actually be able to conquer his heart. Srila Prabhupada says in the purports of Kardama Muni Devahuti's that section, he says that by her patience and submissiveness, she can actually conquer the heart of the husband. That means naturally men will have this ego that they want to be superior. This is there in the male body. So Srila Prabhupada says women should recognize this and they should actually allow this, allowing them to be superior by her behavior. And even if he's wrong at times, she should tolerate it. Srila Prabhupada says this. She should tolerate it. What happens by this when she tolerates? She'll actually conquer his heart in due course of time. Then he becomes like a puppet in her hands. Externally, it appears, just look at the science. We are not taught this. They are actually, that system is so fine and so scientific and developed. The modern system is so crude, gross, right? It's not so subtle. You don't understand the subtle science of how it works. We have come down to such a gross platform. Externally, just, like prove and win, I'm super, I'm right, you're wrong. It goes nowhere. But there, externally, it appears like she's subordinate and she acts also as she's subordinate. But actually, she has already conquered his heart, so he won't do anything which he doesn't like. He will take her advice and he will do. So she's actually the one who's controlling everything. But externally, she's subservient, which is better. But we being foolish, and not getting, foolish means we don't get that training. See, in olden days, the mothers, seniors, they would train, they will tell by their experience. And whatever they receive from their mothers, they pass it on to their daughters, how you should mingle when you go to your husband's family, how you should deal with other members. Now, all our lives are spent going to schools, colleges, and learning technology and science and this and that. We forget these relationships. What is the science, how to deal? We don't have these tools with us, these skills. So that's why families are, falling apart. But yeah, I think we'll stop here. It was a nice discussion today. Let me see. Mataji sent some messages here. Achut Premaji. Today's world, they don't respect women if they don't work outside or contribute money to the family. Also, what if there are not many elders to train the women? Yes, Mataji. So that is the thing. The current situation is twisted. Now, because this situation is spoiled, should we just go along with it? That's the question. If you go along with it, you are also contributing towards making it worse. We have to, first of all, recognize that this is not right. First step is to actually recognize, notice that things are not going in the right direction. This is not how things are supposed to go. At the same time, you cannot make immediate drastic changes also, which won't be sustainable. But with intelligence, very carefully, at least individually, we can start making those changes within starting from there, right? When we start noticing these things, first get the tools that we need. Tools that we need, how to deal, how to maneuver, and then start implementing them little by little, right? And tolerate, certainly we have to tolerate. It's not going to be accepted right away that everyone will say, wow, this is wonderful, let's do it. You will face opposition. But for that, you have to have conviction that what I'm doing is right. This is according to Shastra. This is what Krishna wants. This will actually be, it will lead to a better society for everyone. So this is from my side, individually what I can do. But actually, collectively, leadership there has to be a king. That's why we need a good king. We need a good king like Yudhishthir Maharaj and a good head of the family and all these things. So all this starts with proper education. They are also people. They are also taught these things only. So they also don't know. So once again, we have to bring, that's why always this course, Shastra Pramana, is stressed so much. I don't know how many times Prabhuji has taught, His Grace Venugopal Prabhu has taught this course, and still he teaches. Wherever he goes, he teaches Shastra Pramana, Shastra Pramana, Shastra Pramana. Because Shastra is Pramana. We have to bring it back into our lives. Not our mental speculations and planning commissions, and we can come up with solutions to problems. It didn't work, it's not going to work. Shastra will work. So you have to build that faith in Shastra, and it's not blind faith. Srila Jiva Goswami is proving it. Shastra is Pramana, and the highest Shastra is Srimad Bhagavatam. Follow whatever is said. Srila Prabhupada has given us the purports. Don't think that, oh, this part of the purport doesn't apply to the current society. Now the society is different. I'll just remove this. No, we shouldn't do that. Take it as it is with faith, and we will do our little bit. Like when Lord Ramchandra is building that bridge, that small, squirrel or spider, whatever they say, was putting a little grain of sand from its side. Like that, we can contribute whatever little we can contribute. If not anything else, I can bring some changes within my own consciousness. And if I can pass it on to another person, my neighbor, my friend, or a few friends, I'm doing my part. Of course, my one sand grain is not going to build the whole bridge. That has to be done by Lord Ramchandra. The Supreme Lord will do it, and his devotees. It's a collective effort. Everyone has to come together. But I cannot sit and wait until, let them come. Meanwhile, my life is passing by. So let me try to do whatever I can within my capacity, right? So now the stage that we are at is education, awareness. That's why all these courses also, to bring awareness in people about, open your ears, open your eyes, and see what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Don't just superficially go over the verses, memorize them, and think that I know Bhagavad Gita. Go deeper. Try to understand what is Krishna saying, what is the science, how we can come out of our present conditioning, how we can actually move towards pure devotional service. And not just speak about it, but actually take it inside and implement it. That's the point. But thank you.
Very nice,
Arundhati
Mataji.
Mataji.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Mataji, one more, just last query.
Ah.
Where can I find your video or maybe talk on this creation of universe, which you talked about those three modes of nature, then Mahatattva, like the whole creation? Is there any video on your YouTube?
I like this, I just talk in classes in general, but particularly because we are doing now I'll tell you, Mataji. I can send you. I have someone else had asked me in the past, I had sent, so I can send you. But otherwise, when Gopal Prabhu's class is on Golokvani, you will have in detail, he will speak on the second canto. There's a whole
Okay.
playlist. So if you go
Yes.
there, you will find.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for your participation today. It was really nice. And hopefully we'll have a session tomorrow also. We do it every Saturday and Sunday. We try to do it.
Hare
So
Krishna Mataji, very nice.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It was really very nice.
yes, one
We
second.
all women's need this to hear all this.
Thank you, Mataji. Kavita Mataji was speaking. Let her say. Yes, Mataji.
Will the class be the same time as this time?
Yes.
Time as today?
Yes. Oh no, today I started half an hour late actually. We can start same time. 7 o'clock we can start tomorrow. In my US time 7, I don't know your time. But
India time is 4 o'clock. India time is
4:30. I think you started at 4:30 today though.
4:30, yes.
4:30. So which is better? 4 is okay or 4:30?
7 is fine, then I can join. I can
Mataji?
finish my japa and join.
So
Mataji,
7 is
sorry.
better, you're saying.
Yes, if it's okay with everyone.
4 is
7 is
okay.
okay.
4 is okay. Kavita Mataji.
Yeah.
4. Okay.
Okay.
Mataji saying 7 is okay. Okay. I'll just send a message tomorrow.
It's no problem. So you can take Mataji.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anything else? No.
Thank you
all.
for guiding us, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.